Shadowstalker here, back at the harbor, because I really just needed to get away from the man cave. I'm gonna try to redo the video I did yesterday. Oh, that's a bad place. Yesterday I talked about checking on your own history. So let's see if I can redo this whole thing. See if I can. I know what that is. Okay, I'll just. Yeah, people are enjoying themselves today. That's awesome. Alright, this is what I said. Hopefully nothing will disturb me. Alright. There's an ancient Indian saying that something lives only as long as the last person remembers it. My people have come to trust the memory over history. Memory, like fire, is radiant and immutable. While history serves only those who seek to control it, those who would douse the flame of memory in order to put out the dangerous fire of truth. Beware the men, for they are dangerous themselves and unwise. Their false history is written in the blood of those who might remember and of those who seek the truth. Albert hosting the X-Files. I'm sure most of you X-Files fans remember that. That was one of the most awesome episodes ever. Reason why I entitled this video Check Your History is a question you have to ask yourself. Do you know your own history? Do you know your own country's history? The universe, the planet? It's all been torn to pieces and rewritten. I mean, do you even remember what you were taught in history class? Me? No, I don't remember, because all I was taught was names and dates. I wasn't taught cause and effect. And most of the history I learned was from, TV and YouTube and places like that, and even half that is garbage, because if it comes from TV, well, forget it. I mean, most of this stuff will be true, but intent and who was really in charge, that's a different story, right? The other thing is your own personal past. Do you remember half your childhood? I don't. I don't remember much about my childhood at all. So instead of listening to your churches, your religion, government, go with your knowing, not with your thinking, not with your education in anything, because it's fundamentally flawed. Everything is fundamentally flawed, including ourselves. Our mind is fundamentally flawed. Our eyes, our thinking. I mean, we can only think so much, we can only recall so much, we can only see so much, we can only do so much. Why? Because we only accept 5% of what's really out there, and consider half of that to be false. What are we supposed to do with that? What are we supposed to do with history? If you really want to know about your history, or anything, any kind of history, just go straight to the Akashic records. If you're gifted, just sit there and meditate and ask the universe, what really happened here? Am I even really needing to know this? Would it change my life if I knew it at all? Just like when I was a kid, there was stuff that happened to me when I was a kid. It's in one of the other videos I had. It had to do with my folks fighting off government people and MIB like type people. yeah, during those 3 days, my father erased my memories and my sisters and my brother, because it was just us 5 at that time. I didn't know what happened. I still don't. I had to get the information from my mother, and that's her perspective, what she remembers. So part of my life has been erased or relocated to another part of my mind, right? So how do you deal with that? How do you find it? Well, you try to dig deep into your own Akashic records if you're able to. I've only been able to do that once. And at that point I was looking at books. They just showed me books. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but my daughter did the same thing, and she discovered a few books for herself, and some of them were actually red and glowing, which I find fascinating. But yeah, if you're gifted and you want to know the truth about what's going on now, because this is present history, just meditate or remote view. Some of you are gifted with that, remote viewing. I've done it a couple times myself, but I have to be totally quiet around me. Yeah. So my history. Some of it I do remember from dreams. Some of it, from Atlantean times. The downfall, I think it was the last downfall. Apparently there was supposed to be 3. When I was growing up, I do remember some things like, my folks used to talk about spirituality in Atlantis and UFOs and all kinds of stuff like that. My father made us a medallion for all 5 of us. This is what it looked like. Okay, the A is behind the clouds or mountains or whatever it is. But the A does not stand for Atlantis. It stood for whatever position we held. It was not necessarily a family crest type thing, but more like a position. So if anybody sees this medallion anywhere, because he took it from us after those 3 days of attacks, and he claimed he sold it to get us food. Apparently we were having financial issues at the time. But if you see anything like that laying around in some old shop, because this was done in the mid to late 70s, then please pick it up. Take a picture or something and send the picture to Project Shadowstalker at yahoo.com. And I hate this place. It's never anything so quiet. I call it a city wannabe. So yeah, if anybody sees it, take a pic, send it to me. And if you would be so kind as to send it to me, please don't hold it for ransom, because it's mine. It belongs to my family. There were 5 made, so I would be totally grateful if that could happen. But yeah, history. Your own personal history, family history, town history, country history, the world, the universe. Most of it's been a lie, or literally just been withheld. I mean, from what I understand, there's 300 years of history just gone, missing. Where did it go? I don't remember where I heard that from or read that from. I heard that a few years ago. But needless to say, even my family history has been changed. Either through denial of events or just hypnotizing us to forget. I mean, this happened before my 2 kid sisters were born, so they know nothing of this, not really. I mean, one of my baby sister listened to the video that I did of my mom. I interviewed my mom, and I still don't understand what she knows about it, what she thinks about it. But my parents and myself were family back in Atlantis. They were my parents, and I was their daughter then. My youngest sister, she was not a member of the family, but she was a close friend. But now she is a member of the family. See how that goes? This is weird, but it's cool at the same time. Needless to say, she has memories of, you know, her perspective of what went down. The only thing I remember is that I used to fly aircraft. Honest to goodness aircraft. Nothing like we have today, but more like what we have in the underground government. And at one point I crashed it, which is one of the reasons why I'm scared to death of heights. At least that's what my father said. I crashed the craft. So, yeah, things are hidden all the time, everywhere, no matter. Just do some meditation. Find out what's really going on in our past. Find out what was going on in your past. Because not everybody remembers their childhood. Not even, people don't remember if they've even been abducted by aliens or my lab. Okay? That's in itself is a change in, of course, in your history. When it's being denied to you, you think you're leading a halfway decent life. But you're not. You're leading a double life, maybe even a triple or quadruple life, you know. Your dreams are your answers as well. So you need to look to them. I mean, for the longest time, I wasn't even sure I had been abducted by anything, let alone in my lab or aliens. But apparently it's been happening my whole life, because before my father died, I would ask him a whole cram load of questions, and he would totally deny everything. No, that wasn't me, blah, blah, blah. This never happened. And I believe it, because one of the things that I recall is sitting on my father's lap in his bedroom. We're looking out the window, and I see this beam of light go down and hit the planet, and he turned around and said, "Do you know what that is?" I said, "No." That was like maybe 7 or 8 years old at the time. But it seemed real. And so I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, that's a plasma beam. That's one of the things that destroyed Atlantis." And I asked my father about that, and he said, "Well, no, I don't recall anything like that." And of course he wouldn't, because how in the hell would he be able to show me a plasma beam hitting the planet from the sky through just a casual conversation? And thinking back on it, it wasn't even our house at the time. It looked like a bedroom, but it wasn't any house I had ever been in. There have been quite a few times where I've been shown things, and I would ask my parents, "Did you ever show me this? Did you ever tell me this?" Nope. Well, apparently the aliens have been doing it, and they've been using my parents' image to try to teach me things. So when you're thinking that it's all a dream, then right there is your history being changed, because you're just going through your life casually. You don't know. So take heed of your dreams. Start taking journal notes and considering the times where you're in. I think it's time we started flooding YouTube and all these other pages with your own personal truth. To keep the government and the churches and all that, oh no, this doesn't exist, it's just demons and devils. No, it's not. And you know it's not. You know for a fact it's not. So start flooding the internet before they start taking stuff down. Okay, I guess that's it for now, because I'm tired of this traffic, and I'm once again very sorry about all this. Well, have a great day. Namaste. Take care of yourself. Much love to all.